Hello, welcome to Bragway TV. If you are new here, please subscribe and turn on the notification so you don't miss our next video. Biography of Mohammed Anwar el-Sadat. Loyalty, humility, peace-seeking, and bravery are a number of traits we don't associate with a lot of world leaders. But Mohammed Anwar el-Sadat proved us wrong here. One of his most famous quotes says, "Peace is much more precious than a piece of land. Let them know worse." The former president of Egypt was born on a very special day around the world, December 25, 1918, into a family that already had 13 children. He was named after Ismail Anwar, who is also known as Anwar Pasha. Anwar Pasha was a Turkish war minister that became a Middle East hero that held the city of Aden during the Balkan Wars in 1918, which is incidentally the year Sadat was born. Safe to say that he was named after a hero, and then he went ahead and became one as well. His father was a government clerk, while his mother was Sudanese. Sadat grew up a happy child, growing up among average Egyptian villagers in a town called Mit Abu Kom, Menufeya, which is about 40 miles north of Cairo. As at that time, Egypt was colonized by the British. As a result of this influence, Sadat has harbored anti-colonial beliefs from an early age. He was brought up as a devout Muslim, even benefiting a lot from Islamic education. After his graduation from a military school in Egypt he attended, he was posted to a remote government base. This was where he made a friend of Gamal Abdel Nasser. During the Second World War, Sadat landed himself in prison because he offered Germans help to assist in sending the Brits out of Egypt. And although he managed to escape after 2 years in jail, he was arrested a second time in 1946 on the charges of being involved in the assassination of a pro-British minister. While in prison, he wrote his first book, In Search of Identity. He was released 2 years after his arrest, and he went on to join a group called the Free Officers Organization, which was responsible for leading the coup against the royal government of King Farouk in 1952. He supported Nasser's election as president of Egypt in 1954. While Nasser was president, Sadat was appointed Minister of State in 1954, and he was also appointed editor of the then recently founded daily Al Gomhuriya. He became the Secretary of the National Union in 1959 and President of the National Assembly from 1960 to 1968. In 1964, he was named the Vice President and member of the Presidential Council. In 1969, he was renamed the Vice President. Upon Nasser's death in 1970, Anwar Sadat was elected President of Egypt. As President, he made so many bold moves, many of which can be likened to an act of heroism. He was responsible for breaking Egypt's links with the Soviet Union and asked for the support of the US in reclaiming territories that were lost to Israel. In 1977, Sadat made the heroic move of journeying to Jerusalem, where he offered Begin, the Israeli Prime Minister, a peace treaty in exchange for the recovery of the occupied Sinai Peninsula. Sadat shared a Nobel Peace Prize with Begin after initiating the negotiation for peace between Egypt and Israel. This brought about the Camp David Accords, which was successful thanks to the mediation of Jimmy Carter, the then US president. When Sadat became president, he was thought to be a puppet and not capable of ruling a nation by a lot of people. But Sadat made a lot of bold moves that firmly set him apart as a great ruler and a man with a mind of his own. On May 15, 1971, Sadat announced a corrective revolution, a system which he used to cleanse the government, purging every phase of it, from security to political to government establishments of the most ardent Nasserists. He shocked many Egyptians by dismissing and imprisoning two of the most powerful people in the regime of the Vice President Ali Sabri, who had close ties with Soviet officials, and Sharawi Goma, the interior minister that controlled the secret police. As part of his corrective measure, he also went ahead to cut down on the power wielded by the much-hated secret police. He expelled the Soviet military from Egypt and reformed the Egyptian army to face off with Israel army again, making them better this time. He also encouraged the rise of Islamist movements, being a devout himself. His belief was that Islamists are socially conservative, so he gave them a considerable cultural and ideological autonomy in exchange for political support. On the 6th of October 1973, Sadat and Hafiz Assad of Syria launched the October War, also known as the Yom Kippur War, and even less popularly known as the Ramadan War. It consisted a series of surprise attacks against the Israeli forces occupying Egypt's Sinai Peninsula and the Syrian Golan Heights, with the sole purpose of retaking their territories back to the Egyptians and Syrians respectively. These regions had been occupied by the Israeli since the Six-Day War, which happened 6 years earlier. The initial victories won by the Egyptians and Syrians in the war restored some sense of hope back to Egypt and the Arab world at large. Any said that the name Hero of the Crossing. At this point, the Israeli recognized the power Egypt was gathering and they started regarding them as a formidable foe. Egypt had gained a renewed political significance, and this led to the regaining and reopening of Suez Canal, the peace process Sadat had put in place. The same peace policy led to the conclusion of 2 agreements on the disengagement of forces with the Israeli government. The first agreement was signed on January 18, 1974, and the second was signed on September 4, 1975. On November 19, 1977, Sadat became the first Arab leader to officially make a visit to Israel when he went over to have a meeting with Israeli Prime Minister Menachem Begin, and he made a speech before the Knesset in Jerusalem about his views on how to achieve an all-inclusive peace to put an end to the Arab-Israeli conflict. During the last months of his presidency, a lot of internal uprisings were witnessed. He disregarded all allegations that the uprisings were caused by domestic issues, instead believing that the Soviet Union was recruiting its regional allies in Libya and Syria to create an uprising that would eventually force him out of power. Finally, on the 6th of October 1981, Sadat was assassinated during the annual victory parade that was held in Cairo to celebrate Egypt's crossing of the Suez Canal. Along with Sadat, 11 other people were killed, including the Cuban ambassador, an Omani general, a Coptic Orthodox bishop, and the head of Egypt's Central Auditing Agency, Samuel Helmin. And so, the reign of a great leader came to an end. What's your take on Sadat as an African politician? Let's know in the comment section. Will it be ridiculous to subscribe to our channel? If no, please like this video, share and subscribe to our channel.